Today we're going to cover when you should make your first hire and what type of person that first hire should be. Let's run it. I'm Robb Quinn, CEO of the sales agency. I'm going to show you how we use these concepts to go from 6 team members at the beginning of 2021 to 40 full-time team members by the end of 2021. At what point do you actually start to look at bringing on a team member? And I remember first starting out when we were building this thing. I was a solopreneur. This is back in 2017 of September is actually when I launched the company. It's crazy to think it's been that long already. And when I first started building this, it was, hey, I can do all these things myself, and I can outsource this stuff, hire contractors for this stuff. There's a lot of ways I looked at that. But following into my second year in business, because I started making some decent money year one. We did a few $100,000. I was a solopreneur, and it felt awesome, right? Because it's something that you didn't have before. So it's an entirely new game, and you're just really embracing that new lifestyle, especially because I didn't have the right mentors at the time to tell me like, hey, you should be focusing on reinvesting that money into other things to move faster. Didn't have that. So year two, I spent like all my time traveling thinking that I could just hire some part-time VAs that would jump into my business and want to do stuff because I asked them to. And I continued to really be a solopreneur. Like there's nobody fully committed in the company that I could really lean on and to where I could say, hey man, or hey gal, hey you, but hey, would you be able to handle this? And then be like, hey, that's a great idea, Rob, but I'll tell you what, I think this is gonna be a better way to do it. Like there was no real commitment in the company where it was just the Rob show still, even though we had part-time VAs. And that's when I realized coming into year 3 that was a differentiator, right? You could have somebody on the team that is just there to do a task, or you have a group of people that are completely committed to a vision that you set out. And you can find a way to leverage your company as their vehicle to get them to their destination, thus creating founder-like mindset in the company, an entrepreneurial-based mindset from all these full-time team members to be able to implement ideas based on their skill set that will work better than your idea. And that's when the light bulb switched for me. That's when I realized, all right, so I need to start hiring team members. And I tell you this story because if I could have told my year 1 self when I started in business that people are gonna help you get to the vision faster than you just stacking cash, and understanding there's gonna be a process with that, I would have first prioritized people over just finding ways to generate cash. Because in that case, everyone would have come together to be able to leverage this vehicle, AKA the company that you started, to create their reality. And the only way that happens is when the company is growing. And I would have focused more on people. So that's where this video came from today. So we're gonna talk about what types of people you're gonna wanna look for whenever you are building a team to be able to create this vehicle to your destination and the vision. The types of people I was looking for when I first started, because I had no idea what types of people should be working in a company, let alone this company. And I would ask myself, like, I would be downloading things off the internet, interview questions, listening to all these other interviews, podcasts and things like that. And it wasn't until I realized what types of characteristics do I value based on my values? What types of people would I entrust this company to if something happened to me? If I died, if something, who knows, right? Could have happened to me. Could I entrust this to these people? What types of people are they? And that's when I had to sit back and reflect on my values, my beliefs, and the things that really drove me based on like certain habits, characteristics, things of that nature. And that's when I came up with this list I'm gonna share with you today. So I want you to take into account, if you're building a team and you're like, okay, well, I should take from that list and learn from Rob and do it exactly the way he did it. You can, absolutely. But what I would challenge you to do is sit back and reflect today on what are your values, what are your behaviors, what are the habits and characteristics that make up your best attributes, and how are those things creating the things holding you back? Because remember, whatever you choose to embrace, create, and add into the company, you will then and like choose to duplicate in your company. Okay, so I'll just give you an extreme example. If you're staying out late partying all night, waking up, showing late to meetings, and you're posting up keg stands on your Facebook, well, you better be okay with your team showing up drunk, posting up keg stands on their Facebook, because you are duplicating the things that you embrace. If you're showing up on time, if you're reading every morning, if you're prioritizing health, if you're prioritizing relationships, if you're prioritizing self-development, well, guess what? That is what you embrace. That becomes the standard, and you will duplicate what you want to see more of. So that's what's so cool about building a culture in a team and hiring based on values, behaviors, characteristics, and attributes, is that it all starts from you. So you have full control over that culture being created because you are the standard. All right, so now let's get into a few of the things that I looked at. So I was looking at, I need somebody to value family first, because we're a family first culture, so we like to make sure that we have each other's back. You want to make sure you define these values, by the way, because some people might have a stigma around family, right? Maybe where it wasn't a great experience for them, so define the value. So in our case, family first is where we always have each other's backs no matter what. We're always there to support each other, but more importantly, we're not afraid to be able to voice our opinion and challenge that thought. Not say it's wrong, but challenge the thought to be able to help us elevate our thinking. Maybe see through another lens we never considered before. That's what we consider when we hear family first, right? So do people value being there for somebody else? That's the first one we're looking at. Next is integrity. Do the right thing even when it freaking sucks to do the right thing. Okay, there have been plenty of times we've had to own up to our own mistakes, and I realized that sometimes I had to take a hit, for that reason. And I know the universe is going to come around full circle. So even though I had to take a hit making the right decision based on my value of integrity, for me, long term, it was the right move to do. So I want to see, do people value integrity? Next is, do people take extreme ownership? So I'm asking situational, scenario-based questions in an interview to where I can see, are people taking extreme ownership or choosing to be a victim of circumstance? Because if that's the case, remember, you can either be a victim of circumstance or a product of vision. And if I'm noticing that people will explain to me that their situation is caused by external influence, that is them showing me that they're more so a victim of circumstance rather than a product of vision. Okay, so these are 3 values that I highly prioritize that I look for, along with some other characteristics we'll get into right now. But those are the values, okay? So whatever that is for you, that's what that is for me. Make sure they're defined. Next, I'm looking for high energy, high inputs. Are they used to being in an environment where it is high energy and high inputs? All right, and then next, based on that environment, how did they challenge themselves? How competitive were they? So I'm looking for a 1% done mentality, which is something that we live by at the sales agency, is we're always 1% done. So are they always looking to improve? Do they have that certain level of humility that allows them to be able to spike the ball in the end zone, celebrate the touchdown quickly, but understand there's still a game to play? And to get back on the field, to be able to identify the gaps of opportunity in their game, to focus on improvement and focus on what is the next stage of my growth, right? What's the next stage in my performance? Cool, I made 10 grand this month in commissions as a sales rep. Sweet, I've never done that before. Spike the ball in the end zone. Maybe buy something that you've always wanted, right? Put some money away. And then from there, how do I get to 20K? How do I get to 30K? How do I get to 50K as a professional sales rep? All right, that's what I'm looking for in these 1% done mentality, high input, high energy environment. So these are other things I'm looking for. I'm also looking to see, is somebody willing to quit their job right now to come work here, right? Now, maybe they're in between jobs, different scenario, but if they're with another company right now and they're like, you know what, Rob, I will quit today and come work for you. And I know we've all seen that clip in The Wolf of Wall Street where show me a paycheck stub and I'll quit my job right now on the spot. It's a really cool scene. For me personally, again, because of my values of integrity, which I believe loyalty kind of falls into that integrity bubble. The way I look at that, and again, doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, right? This is just how I perceive it, is that if you're willing to quit your job on the spot, I believe that there is a certain level of loyalty that is not there, right? I'm cool with you wanting to exit your current occupation, but if you're not gonna give that person 2-4 weeks notice, then I mean, you're leaving them hanging, and family wouldn't do that. So I'm looking for that. That's a red flag that I'm looking for. So all in all, these are a handful of things I look for when I'm looking for characteristics and behaviors of people, because those things are going to be what sustains someone long-term in a company that's growing quickly, because you're going to deal with crazy stuff as you grow your company quick. A lot of highs, a lot of lows. There's going to be a roller coaster as you grow that company, right? So as an example, like for us in this year, like last month we broke even in revenue in the company, but we're pacing 300% growth over last year in the company at the sales agency. So for a team to be able to see, oh my gosh, we broke even last month, that would be a smoke screen to what we're actually doing. And if they were to be distracted by that, those are not the types of players that are going to stay with you long term. They don't have the tolerance, they don't have the patience, they don't have the awareness. And that's what we look for in these leadership-based people that we hire into the company. So the reason why this whole video is around habits, characteristics, behaviors is because if you have a great training program in your company and you have resources for them to be successful, like product sheets, avatar sheets, call reviews, mission, value, purpose, all this stuff in the company already, focus on hiring for habits, characteristics, and behaviors, the character of a person, rather than the skill set, because skills can be taught, but when you bring somebody on that has all of these other elements, they'll sustain in the company longer, and you can teach the skill set. They don't necessarily need to always bring that skill set with them. That's why we prioritize habits, behaviors, characteristics. So these are the few things that I look for. I hope this is helpful for you as you begin to start acquiring people into your company to start growing it. And once you realize that people create opportunity, people create revenue, you're going to realize that you will prioritize people before revenue. Simple. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys thought, maybe your number one takeaway. Would love to see it. I'll come down and answer those. And I will catch you guys on the next video.